to all. I bring to you from the theater school at DePaul University in Chicago, Illinois, the Black Actors Roundtable, chronicling the experiences and perspectives of said Black actors in training. My name is ISAIAH-ZAVION, live, loud, and in living color, and I'll be your moderator for this conversation. We can start over here. I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves.
All right. My name is Tyshaun Meekie, and I go by he, him, and I am a BFA 1 actor.
Nice. Hi, my name is Danoeh Renaud. I am a BFA 1 actor. Yes.
Hello.
BFA 2, oh my God, BFA 2 actor. I'm a BFA 2 actor.
Whoa. That is funny.
Wow.
Hello. My name is Kobe Mehki or Kobe Johnson. I use he, him, or they, them pronouns, and I am a BFA 2 actor.
Hi, I'm Asha Houston. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a third-year BFA actor.
Fantastic. First, I just want to say thank you to all of you wanting to actually do this and give over your time, energy, and effort, especially at the end of this quarter, which has been hectic for everyone. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I want to ask, starting with you, how are you? Simply, how is your mental health? Where are you at, mind, body, and soul in this crazy time?
Oh, wow. How am I? Let's see. I am decent. Like, I am like, I don't know. It's like a feeling where it's like, I'm like flattened, but I'm good. Like, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
What about you, Kobe?
Ooh, child. Depleting. That's the best way I could put it. Mental health-wise, I've noticed how much having access to a therapist is so important, and feeling like I don't having to be my own therapist for 19 years has been such a struggle, and I'm realizing now that I cannot take on that weight, both mentally and just like emotionally, physically. I've been very scattered, like very high highs, very low lows, and I felt very isolated a lot this year for like my own reasons and like other reasons as well. But I'm just ready for this quarter to be over. I'm ready to start anew. 2022, I was sick. Or 2021, I was sick like every month. So we're trying to get that under wrap to figure out what that's all about. So just feeling like not myself, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
How are you, Danoeh?
I'm all right. I think something I definitely learned this quarter is that I need to, even though it may sound corny, like I need to put myself first.
Yes.
I was taking care of everybody else and not taking enough care of me, and nobody was checking in on me. I had to be the checker-upper, but nobody was checking upper on me. So, yeah, that's something I'm learning. I feel exhausted. Yeah, very exhausted. I realized I didn't have take time to rest, but I also didn't know where to take that time to rest because I don't feel like there was much time to rest, to be honest. Which I love what I do, but I think, saying no and taking care of myself, because as of right now, I learned my lesson in that sense. Like, I'm very exhausted, I'm very tired, but I know to put myself first.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's a huge thing. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I'm learning a lot of new things. But like in this quarter specifically, I set an intention before everything started just to release the need for an outcome or an expectation of anything, and I feel like that has saved me a lot of mental stress. Because a lot of the other quarters I'd be like, okay, I need to be at this place by the end of this quarter to feel like I accomplished something. But this quarter I was just kind of like, no, I'm just gonna have a good time and see what I learn. And I feel like I learned a lot more than I did had I been stressing about everything. And I finished today all my classes, and I just feel very open and receptive to everything around me, and just filling up my own cup. So I feel good.
It seems like a universal thing a lot of us, and maybe it's artists. We feel the need to please and satisfy others and never give ourselves the time, energy, and effort. Like you said, it's so easy to fill up someone else's cup. It's so easy to pour into someone else. It's harder to pour into yourself because we feel as if we don't deserve that love or that respect and that honor. And I feel as if, especially as an artist in this industry, being a Black artist, you can be shoved into a category.
Immediately.
Immediately. Viola Davis, when she won her Oscar, said, "I became an artist, and thank God I did, because we are the only profession that celebrates what it means to live a life." And so for you, do you feel as if, Asha, that being an artist fills up your cup, and what does being an artist mean to you?
Does it fill up my cup? I don't know if it fills up my cup, because I think I used to put so much energy into it that it would really just drain me. But I think the balance that I've been able to figure out is that it doesn't have to be my whole life, and I can love it and not have it consume every part of my day. But I think what being an artist means to me is being able to step out of, like this art form that we get to participate in and like observe the world and be a part of the world, not always in like an artist's point of view. And I feel like that's influenced my artistry a lot, because sometimes, like especially when I was first getting into acting, I was like, oh, I always have to be thinking about acting, or I always have to be thinking about how this can be a story. But then when I kind of dropped that and was like, no, maybe I can just like experience life and see what things resonate with me, I feel like that's when I was able to think more like an artist in terms of like, I am allowed to develop my own interests and they don't have to be what I think they have to be.
Do you think that's because we've been force-fed the idea of what it is to be an actor or an artist, that hustle culture is the only way and there is no other way? Do you feel as if that's been ingrained in you?
Yeah, I think especially early on being here, I thought that I just had to like drain myself to feel like I was getting something out of the education. And then I think also like COVID happening shifted a lot of people's ideas about like what that means to like work hard at something. But I think I learned from myself, I can work hard and not feel like I'm falling apart like physically and mentally. And that was something I really worked on this quarter. But I do think that like, especially for Black actors and Black artists, like hustle culture kind of like, it's ingrained in like who we are and how we survive. But I think the more we can kind of dismantle, because I mean we hustle because of like white privilege and white supremacy, right? Because we're 100%. Trying to like overcome these boundaries 100%. That are in front of us. But I think the more that we're breaking down those walls, the more that we can be like, okay, how can I do this thing I love and also take care of myself at the same time? And it's not like gonna be fixed overnight, but I think the more that we can like advocate for ourselves, the more we can see more change happening.
How do you deal with hustle culture?
I think I'm still learning how to deal with it, to be honest. I think, being Black and honestly taking into the fact, being a dark-skinned woman, like I think it's a lot that goes into it, because I feel like with like, I take a lot of my ideas, or I'm trying to like unlearn a lot of my ideas from my parents, because they did try to help. Because it was like, you have to work twice as hard. Like we don't even have to tell you anymore. Like what it's like you don't have everything handed to you on a silver platter. And I think this year, again, like I'm learning or trying to find ways to step away from that ideals, but it's just really hard when every day you're proven wrong, in a sense. It's like I can give my all and still it not be enough. But then you have Sally over here doing something, and Sally getting all the credit, child, even if Sally was stealing from you. But I don't know. I think that's just I'm learning. I don't think I know just yet.
So. And that's fine. I'm working on a short film right now called what is it called? Oh, it's called Black Dreams, Broken.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about that idea, especially from an actor's perspective, the black artist, the black actor, working, trying to reach their dreams, but everything they do, it's you're too black, or you're not black enough, or you're too effeminate, or you're not effeminate enough, or you're not this height, or you're not, and it's all about proving your blackness to a society, and how the term black excellence can be a detriment to the black artist. Do you feel that at all, that black excellence can be a detriment, or is it, or have us as black people claimed that and taken it for ourselves?
I think it depends on the individual and where they come from, because I know for me, black excellence more or less was more of a loose term in my household, like being queer, being black, being dark skinned, being femme, being short. I kind of just was always taught by my parents that like black excellence for me meant owning my comfortability in what it looks like to be black for myself. But I know that society has told me that black excellence needs to look like A, B, C, and D, and like struggling to find that narrative between like what it looks like to be a part of a community that also doesn't really value me as an individual as a part of that community is so difficult, because I'm seen as black, or I'm seen as gay, or I'm seen as feminine, or I'm never seen as all of those pieces together. And so I feel like black excellence has been something that I've always struggled with, because I don't know what it looks like. I know what it looks like kind of to be black in my own skin and be excellent in that, which is just like owning my comfortability, but I feel like the world still doesn't know where to put me yet. And so I feel like that idea of black excellence doesn't really fit in with what I see for myself. If that makes sense.
That gave me an idea, and I want to ask you this. Do you feel an obligation to make art for black voices? Do you feel as an artist, there's this weight on you that what you're doing right now and when you go out into the world, that if you don't make art for our people, you are not representing our people enough? Is that something you've ever felt?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, because I've never felt like my work that I've done is like representing a whole like group of people, because I haven't really done work on that scale at all. But because I don't know, I look at like actors that like my family really love, and that like a lot, we know them from like these black films that like become iconic in like black homes. So I'm like, that's a lot of pressure to be like this person for like this race. But I think like when I think about like the type of work that I want to do, because like I like what you were saying, sometimes I didn't feel like I like fit into any one category, especially like growing up. I grew up like people always telling me I sounded like I was white, or like sound like, you know, just giving me categories to myself that I didn't feel like were actually who I was. So I felt like a lot of the work that I wanted to do was like dismantling stereotypes about black women, and like even watching Insecure, like just watching her just be like so many parts of herself in that way is just like, I feel like that's similar to what I want to do in terms of like, I can be so many different kinds of things and still be a black woman and still represent black people, but also represent like my individual experience. And if that resonates with people, like that's great. But you know, I can't know exactly what Danoeh goes through on a daily basis, and she can't understand exactly what I go through. And like same with for everyone at this table, like we all have such varied experiences. But I think the beauty in that, and the beauty in storytelling, is that we can all have these varied experiences, but a story can like bring us all together in some way. And I think that's what I'm interested, rather than like, this is for the culture, this is for the race, and like, you know, and sometimes people feel left out of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Do you feel there seems to be a rise, and I've seen it a lot with a lot of black authors. There's a rise in recognizing, and it should have happened a long time ago. There's a rise in recognizing the beauty, humanity, and simple elegance of black women, and just how wonderful they are. Do you feel as if this is just a response to everything that happened in 2020, or is this something people have been wanting to say and finally have the voice to say it, especially as a black female actress? How are you seeing yourself represented enough, and what do you want to see going forward?
Not really, because I gotta think.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
I'll say I feel like we're getting to a point where we're being represented more in like a light of like, because I think it just goes back to categories, because I do see a lot of I do see many black actresses, but they're put into categories. It's like they only get this role or that role, and it's like they're put into that category and that's the only role they can get. I feel like now I'm seeing more roles for black women where it's not just them playing aggressive or being put into a box. It's like they get to play who they want, like ISAIAH-ZAVION. And she opened that door for herself. Because that's what I'm realizing too. It's like sometimes we can't wait for someone. We gotta make the door. We have to build the door and make it and open it for ourselves. So I think we still have a lot of work to do, because as many black individuals, we're multi-dimensional, and although we are black first, we don't only have to play black characters. We can play anything we want.
Absolutely.
Because we are actors.
Exactly.
So I think that's just something. I feel like there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Personally, for me, I am black, but I don't see that many dark-skinned, curvy women, and I would like to see more of that. I'd like to see them in love interest roles other than being fetishized. As, I can be in society, and I have been, but I would like to see more of that, of them in a love interest, or them not playing the side character role, which I feel like happens a lot. But I feel like it's starting to happen, but we still have work to do.
A lot of work to do.
A lot.
Work to do.
Bob the Builder need to get in this. Bob
the Builder.
Yeah.
No, I think about acting. At my old school, I studied acting for 2 years.
Nice.
And one of the best things I love about it so much, and I want to ask you this, is for me, I felt as if acting gave me the opportunity to reclaim my innocence. It gave me that opportunity to go back to being a child. Do you feel that? Or what does being an actor mean to you? Or what does it do for you? Does it allow you to reclaim that innocence?
Let's see. So basically what does acting does for me?
Yeah.
Me personally, acting allows me to have a voice, basically. Me personally, me growing up, I didn't have a voice. Like no one really understood me or heard me at all. So I feel like acting allows me to express what I've been trying to express to people and tell people while growing up. I am pretty new at this acting stuff, but now that I'm here, I'm able to use my voice, and I'm so the other week, my little cousin called me and I want to become an actor now too. I'm like, that feels good. I don't know, shit, that's dope.
Yeah.
Me being able to use my voice and be an example to others, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Asha, do you have a favorite piece of work that you've done so far that you feel as if you connected to heavily, and that allowed you to experience that role and that humanity to a new extent?
Yeah, in the spring last year, for our acting class, we just did scenes the whole quarter. And it was my first time I got to do a scene with another black actor in my class. So it was me and my friend Carl. We did a scene from King Hedley II. Oh my God. And it was Tanya and Hedley. Yes. And I did this long monologue she has where she's basically just bearing her soul. And it was scary to me at first because I was she's having basically a life-changing moment on stage right now, and I was doing over Zoom. I was I don't know if I'm gonna give it what needs to be gave, but I connected to her story so much because I felt I knew her. I have family members who have gone through exactly what she was going through in that monologue.
Look at Natasha! I couldn't give her what she needed. Why want to go back and do it again? I ain't got nothing else to give. I can't give myself, how I'm gonna give her? I don't understand what to do, how to be a mother. You either love too much or don't love enough. Don't seem like there's no middle ground.
And I remember I had done it, and I called my mom because I wanted her to hear the monologue, and she was like sobbing, and it was just like, because I grew up, my parents love August Wilson. They're not like huge like theater people, but like that's how I got introduced to theater, was through his plays. So, and I didn't get it like when I was younger. I didn't get August Wilson. I just thought like the language was kind of confusing, and they didn't talk how I felt I talked or how the people around me talked. But then when I finally did it last year and I actually got to like spend time with this character, I was like, oh, it's like, okay, they may not sound like me, but it's the same things that, you know, Black people are going through. But that was really exciting. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do this whole play and I'm having a insane acting moment, but it was just like I just got to spend time with that character for a few weeks, and I really connected to it, and then I kind of got to let it go, and I thought that was cool.
That is amazing. I love that. I did a scene from Jitney by August Wilson with my friend Miriam, and that was his language is so poetic. And it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I want to see more Black writers, more than just August Wilson, represented. And maybe August Wilson is represented on this broader scale because it's what maybe white people can understand. Or maybe it's like, oh, all these white playwrights, and we'll just give you August Wilson. That's all we'll give you. I mean, I see a shift starting to happen where people are saying, I love August Wilson, but I can do so much more. There's so much more work I can do. What advice would you give to maybe a younger Black person watching this who maybe wants to come here, is thinking about it, and maybe hasn't had that much experience with the industry or with acting?
I would say get this idea and this narrative of typecasting out of your head. I think that it's important to recognize that we do have identities that we cannot get rid of just based off of the way our society functions. Like, I hate to say it, but like we're always going to be Black before anything else, and that is something that I'm still grappling with. But my biggest piece of advice would always be to be selfish in the aspect of taking time for yourself to realize what is it that you want to do. Whatever monologues you want to do them. Whatever scenes you want to do them. Whatever shows, whatever risks, you don't be afraid to take risks, because I know being around like other, unlike my white counterparts, I just felt like there was this different level of professionalism that I as a Black student had to uphold. And like the way I presented myself, and also the way I did scenes, like I felt like if I were to do a scene a certain way, I would have to do it in a more professional mindset, and just getting rid of that shit completely and taking risks because you want to take risks, because ultimately all they want to see is the best version of yourself. And the less fear that you have going in about what people are going to think about it, the more fun and the more of you that will show through. So I would just say do pieces for you and only you, and that's the ultimate way you'll be able to distinguish what you want to go into.
For those same people watching, Tyshaun, we just entered this program, but what you've seen so far, what is TTS, or maybe even Greater DePaul, not doing for its Black students, for its Black artists?
Damn.
Calling them out.
Call them out.
Let them know.
Calling them out.
Whoa. All right. How can I phrase? Okay. So far as like at DePaul or like TTS?
Let's start with the theater school.
At theater school, what are they not doing? I will be honest. I would have liked to see more Black people.
That.
Yes.
That.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Speak on it.
Yes.
I will be honest. I've seen people who made it. I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is, but yeah, I'm like, okay, more Black people, most definitely. I'm like, out of all these auditions,
And in Chicago?
In Chicago, we made. I'm glad I made it, but I know like there's so much more talent out there, and I love my classmates too. But I'm just saying, like I know there's more that y'all could have brought in here too. Most definitely.
Absolutely. What about you, Asha?
I don't know. I just feel like sometimes I don't think they take the time to actually get to know us that well. And like sometimes it's like, okay, you have to, go out of your way to introduce yourself and make yourself known to your professors. But I just know for myself, I have done that so many times, and a lot of my teachers would just be like, okay, this is what I'll tell you. Like, I remember my freshman year, I went to one of my professors. I just, wanted to introduce myself. I just wanted to, get to know people. And they were like, you're a very valuable member to this class. Is that what you wanted to hear? And I was like, okay. But I will say, because I realized that so early on, that I was like, they're really, they're not going to take their time out of their day to get to know me out of all these people in this school. I really, figured out what I wanted to do here, what I wanted to leave here with. Because I'm like, okay, I've been acting most of my life, but I'm like, I don't think after 4 years I'm going to have all the answers. Yeah. So I was like, I at least want to leave here knowing more about myself and knowing more about the work I want to create. So as I moved through the program and worked with teachers that I really connected with, and I getting to work for Phyllis, my voice speech teacher, I work with her personally, just finding those people who are actually interested in getting to know me and getting to know the things that I want to do. That has been very valuable to me, because at the end of the day, it's a PWI. There are a lot of white structures in place. Sometimes it can feel very surface level in terms of the education and how many people they have to teach, and just kind of getting the information out and you being like, okay, well, I got to take that and figure out what to do. But having a lot of the Black professors here and really connecting with them in that way and just asking them a lot of questions has made up for that, I feel for myself.
What about you?
Can you repeat the question? Just
what is TTS not doing?
Well, I would have to agree with there's not nearly enough Black people, and I feel within specifically our section, they've decided, not our section, our grade level, they've thought that if they just decide to we'll put you all in this show or we'll give you this one Black show, then it'll be fine. And I'm I'm not asking to be thrown in with my other Black peers because I like my classmates. I'm friends with every Black student. That's not the issue. You just can't separate us from our classmates to make it seem we've got representation. It's no, just accept more Black students, accept more Asian students, accept more just accept more people. That's my biggest frustration. And also, I can only speak from my own personal experience. I personally feel as though I have a complete disconnect from a lot of my teachers in general. I just feel I don't feel as supported as a Black student in my class. I have brought up things, and I guess Zoom is difficult. I haven't any this year really because I only have one Black teacher who I'm very fond of. But in my experiences over Zoom, there was a moment where we had to talk about our identities, and obviously my identity, Danoeh's identity are very different, but especially from our peers who happen to be white, they were talking about how movies and stuff influence our identity, and I'm so glad that you watching Charlie Brown is an identity for you, but that's not the case for me.
It's not.
And so I tried to bring that up to one of my teachers who happens to be Black, and it was very much we recognize you, we see that anyway. And I'm just yo. and I thought it was just me, but a lot of people kind of noticed that it just, oftentimes it feels kind of dismissive because I feel we're trying to cater to making our white peers comfortable. And I'm sorry, I'm not here to make white people feel comfortable. Yeah. That's not my job. That's not what I'm here to do. And I'm also not here to teach white people. And I'm sick of feeling I have to be the Black savior voice of are we to be Black saviors in our class to educate our white peers on what they should already know. And so I just feel TTS just needs, sometimes they talk about race training for teachers. It needs to be for students. Yes. At this point.
Yeah.
The microaggressions I've faced already, it's it's getting to parking lot hours is what it's getting to. I'll take my answer outside in the parking lot.
Parking lot hours, child.
Yes.
Parking lot hours. Jesus. What about you, Danoeh?
What was the question again?
What is the theater school not doing? Take your time. Take your time.
So, when it comes to questions that I have a lot to say, I start with a story. So this is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Kobe and I was blessed enough to be in my audition room with Kobe. We both got in.
Oh, wow.
We're in here,
That's amazing,
in
yeah.
New York, yes.
Oh, I was in New York too.
Yes.
I feel like our year is very special in the terms of there's 3 sections. There's only 10 of us. Yes. There's only 10 of us. 10 black people. And to me personally, I was in shock, tears almost. Shout out to Nene Leaks. But I will say, okay, so from personal experience, I feel that there is a major disconnect for me in the sense of no matter how many ouch-oops circles we have, for my non-black peers, it just seems like whatever I say does not get to them. And that's why because I know I'm somebody, I'm always laughing, I'm always joking, ha ha, he he. I try to keep the jokes out, and it's still not getting to them. So I was like, maybe it's just me they don't take serious. But then I would talk to other black people in other sections. They would tell me the same exact thing. So I'm like, what's going on? Or, like one major problem I've noticed is AAVE. It's all day, every day. And I'm like, I know this is a professional setting, but I'll tell you, I just said 3 words. Watch your mouth. Because this cannot fly. It cannot fly. That is racism. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know. That was my biggest thing. Because it's like the slightest things. And something else I wasn't fond of was it wasn't only white people. It was non-black people. Because, I can understand there are other oppressed groups, but they would, whenever, as a black person or any black person would talk about their struggles, they would come in and be like, I'm oppressed too. And it would be like this struggle Olympics. And it's like, if I, for example, was like, hey, I understand, I recognize where you're coming from, but please allow me to talk about this. They would be offended and they would take it as an ouch, oops moment.
Yes.
And it's like, but I'm oppressed too. Why are you not sticking up for me as somebody who's a person of color? Okay, so certain situations are just specifically for black people. Okay, let's start there. And that's something I'm still I realize I'm getting upset with because it's like, a lot of non-black people, their role, it's constantly, playing victim, which isn't okay. It's like, oh, well, you didn't stick up for me. You didn't do this. Or, a lot of that. And it's like, I feel like as somebody who's black, what I've realized is that I have to be like, this is going to sound very harsh, but like an attack dog. Honestly, it's like, you're my one black friend and you need to do this for me. And I realized that this week actually, and I don't think it's okay. And I've noticed it with a lot of non-black people, peers, and it's like, that's an issue. I feel like that's a big issue. It's like, well, I stuck up for you when something happened with you. Why are you not sticking up for me? Where it's like, first of all, you never told me what you needed. Let's talk relationship, not even like as a friend or as a part, whatever. You didn't tell me what you needed, because or maybe I wasn't even there when something happened. So what do you need me to do then? And it's like, well, I need you to say something to them. And it's like, but if I'm not within that experience, is there another way that we could go about this? And it's like, no, you should have just, said something for me. And I'm like, but why is it that it's your black friend that you're, and it's like, I feel like within a lot of my non-black peers, I feel like there's an expectation of me that I feel like I cannot reach. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I cannot reach.
Absolutely.
And it's like constantly this expectation of me. And it's like, I would just rather not be put on a pedestal of any sort. I can't reach it. I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to do. And it's not me trying to sound like, oh, I won't stick up for you, which I will if I feel like, or not if I feel like if it's necessary, I will be there, if I know, if I'm educated too. And that's something too I realize a lot, people will not be educated on things, and they will be saying stuff and then say some crazy stuff. That's why I said I need to be educated first before I start talking, because I'm not about to sit here, you know, and be willy-nilly with my mouth. I'm not gonna say nothing crazy, you know. So I was like, that's something too I've noticed, and I would say within TTS, the anti-racism training needs to happen within the students as of right now, because you know, excuse my French, I've experienced a lot of BS, you know, and it's BS. Ciao. Let's talk off camera. No, I'm off camera. Cut the camera. So I think that's for me what I'm learning. And again, you know, and as a black person, as a black woman, I just feel like there's this constant expectation of me that I just never knew I was walking into. And I'm surprised every day, and it's like, oh, so why didn't you do this for me? Why didn't you do that? And I'll be like, listen, babes, I'm not the one. I'm not the one you should be calling on. I don't know what to tell you. You know, and it's like, and it will be like, oh, well, I defended you. So you should have never done it if it was going to be something you wanted to throw back in my face later. You know, because I noticed that non-black people will do that with their black friends constantly. Well, I stuck up for you. Really? So why'd you do it? If he was going to just, you know, throw it like a baseball back in my face later. You know? So that's just, I know that was long, but there's a lot that needs to be done. I mean, I have a whole list. If we want to really talk. But I do feel like within TTS, there does need to be anti-racism training within the students, because people are going to be, oh, you know, like, I understand and I recognize that the teachers here have taken that step to do the anti-racism training, but I'm not with the teachers all day. I'm with the students. That's why I need to find places to also be comfortable with. Yes, I need to be, number one, I need to be comfortable with my professor, but I'm not with you outside of class. I'm not hanging out with you. I'm not at that Starbucks on Fullerton out of class. I'm with you. I'm with you having my pumpkin spice latte, no whip. So let's talk, you know, and that's the thing. I feel like a lot of the anti-racism training needs to start within the student body as well, or not start, you know, there needs to be something, because it's gotten to a point personally to me where it's like, at times I can feel mentally exhausted, and I feel like I do check out. And it's like, I love this school, I love the curriculum, but it's like your environment matters a lot. Where you are matters a lot. And it's like, I do feel, I have to agree with you, Kobe. I feel like I'm constantly put in a position where it's like, but not only white peers, I will emphasize non-black, because it has been my white peers and non-black in general, because it's like, because some, you know, some of my non-black peers will be a part of an oppressed group, even though they're white passing, they will be a part of an oppressed group, and they will say, like, you know, be like, well, you're dark skinned, you're curvy, you deal with fat phobia, you did it, but I deal with a bigger struggle than you, and it's like, you know, you do not, you never will. And again, not the struggle Olympics. It's not a competition. You think I wake up and it's like, oh, you know what? Oh my God. No, I love being black, but I don't wake up like, oh my God, who's gonna say something crazy to me today? Who's gonna do something crazy? Oh, you know, like, no, I do not wake up like that. You know, when Beyonce said woke up like the shit, I mean up like that. You know, in terms of stress every day. So that's what I will say. I think a lot needs to be had there, and I don't know, personally, me just talking about it don't seem to be getting through to anybody. So I would definitely say, you know, I don't think it's fair that it's like I have to step into the role of teacher in terms of when things happen, when ouch, oops moments happen. It's like I have to step into the role of teacher and teach. And then it's like, if I say, you know what, I'm not in the space to talk about this, it's like an ouch, oops moment for them. Like, why? Why can't you talk about this? I don't have to take on the role of professor. Do you see my name on that faculty list? It's not. No, honestly. And it's like that is not, and it's like I feel like we do honestly as black students have this certain weight on our back constantly. And it's like I at times I feel like, yes, I do need to walk on eggshells, because a lot of people will, I don't know why they you know, when it comes to non-black, when it comes to their black peers or their black friends or whatever, it's like they're waiting for us to make a mistake so they can check us for something. It's like waiting, and it's rooted in anti-blackness. I can always tell, because I know when I make a mistake and when somebody's genuinely like, you really hurt me. But if it's like a way to gain something or to find a way to play victim towards a black person, that is weird. It is very weird, and I will not stand for it. I will give you my apologies, but that's it. You want to stay on the other side, partner.
Yes.
Because I'm not dealing with you. You're doing a lot of crazy shit over here. You know, so that's what I will say on that. And in terms of TTS, finding ways to do better.
Yeah.
Anti-racism training, but even then, I feel like people do anti-racism training, and I mean, that doesn't mean the work is ever done. But you know, I think knowing when to apologize to is a big thing, because I can understand, you know, yes, you know, I can understand mistakes happen, but if it's like a constant thing of, well, yes, I said this to you, yes, I did this microaggression, but I'm not a racist. If that's at the end of your sentence, you do not have good intentions. I don't want to hear it, you know, because it's always like a, you know what, I did call you that, but I am not racist. I am not this, I am not that. You could have just left it at, I am sorry.
Yep.
And I would have taken that. But now you have to go into this whole spiel. But, you know, again, I was speaking from a lot of personal experience, but yeah, that's basically it.
There was someone in our hall, white guy, who uses the N-word frequently.
Where at?
Don't tell me sanctuary, because God would not be happy.
Right.
Not sanctuary hall.
Uses the N-word frequently. And I was sitting down in one of my other white friends' rooms, like, why in the world are they doing this? My white friend says, well, it's not a big deal. And I said, hold on.
No, hold on.
Hold on. And I had to, I didn't want to, but I explained and explained and explained and explained until they got silent and couldn't say anything. And I left the room. So I like working with other people of color because I do not want to have to explain why this specific, like Resma Menakem says, the author of My Grandmother's Hands, before COVID-19, there was COVID-16-19. And we have to recognize how deeply rooted what's happening inside of our bodies is, and what's happening in this country is. It's only been 156 years since slavery was outlawed. But there are other ways there are other forms that's still being implemented. You didn't get this job not because you're a black woman, but because da-da-da-da-da. But we all know some of the deeply rooted systems that are put in place. And especially for an artist, like I was saying earlier, you're either too black or not black enough.
I think, like, in general, what I see, I feel like because it is so deeply rooted and there's so much work to do, I'm not saying it's unpredictable. I don't know what I see.
Wow.
Because I feel like every time, and not to sound depressing, but like every time I feel like it's getting better, or I feel like, oh, you know what, finally, like at least a slither of hope. It's like I feel like it is taken away, or has been taken away in some shape or form for me personally. And I'll say, that being said, doesn't mean that when things happen, I let it take my full joy away, because I'll never allow that to happen. I always have a part that I keep for myself and only myself, because at the end of the day, it is incredibly hard being us, and as a person in general, no matter what, you white, black, it is hard being yourself. You have to take care of you. And I think that adding on being black, as much as the experience can be scary, I wouldn't want to be anything else, because I love being black. I love being Haitian, you know. I love my culture, and being able to mix both cultures, and being black and Haitian, and finding ways that I can use my story to help others or use it in my art. I would say that's one of the things I would use for the future. Also, I think for me, what you said, the question was, what do you see for yourself, right? What do you
For the future.
For the future?
For yourself, for TTS, for the country.
I think for myself is because of like the, being like intimidation. It's like that, because I've realized within myself, that I internalized that, and I don't like to say it out loud, but I internalized it, and I'm constantly like second guessing myself. I'm like, oh, was this too mean? Oh, did I do this right? Did I do that right? And in the future, I don't see myself doing that, because I'm starting to get to a place where it's like, I said what I said, and if you choose to take that on and cry, you know what? That's you and your white fragility. That ain't got nothing to do with me. You know, I think in the future, I don't see myself in any type of box. You know, personally, I just won't allow it. I'm not somebody who can be put in a box. You know, I don't put myself in this building. This building has a certain shape. I do not be putting myself in a box in this building. I do not be putting myself in a box. In this building, that was not a box, but but I personally see myself. Because I feel like, okay, sorry, not to go on too much of a rant. I'm gonna keep it very short. But something I keep hearing from the people around me is that like when I'll talk to them, or like my non-black peers, I'll be like, oh my God, you're so amazing, you're so smart, you're kind, da da da. And then the only thing they can say about me is, oh my God, just keep persevering. And I've been hearing that. No. Yes.
In your life
Yes.
like that.
And I've been hearing that for the past 2 weeks. It's like, I'll be like, you guys, you're so amazing. And I love you, and you're so smart and so beautiful, and you're so multi-talented and multifaceted, and it will be like, keep persevering. I'm like, what does this mean? So I don't even get a beautiful, a smart? I know I'm both things.
Speak on it, it is.
And I'm like, damn. And at first I was like, I called one of my friends back home. I was like, girl, you know, I'm out here, and they told me, I was saying all this to them, and I'm not trying to search for nothing, but they told me keep persevering. Why we both were silent on the phone? We said, persevering. Yes. Because they're basically saying, we know you're black. We know you have it hard. Keep going. Don't let them stop you. Don't let them stop you. That's what it's giving. Because I was like, and it did discourage me, because I felt like I was starting to have imposter syndrome to a point where it was like, maybe I'm not good. Maybe I'm not. And it's like, what got me out of this was like, I can literally count on the fingers how many of us are in this building in my year. And I did talk to a teacher, you know, a fellow, my voice teacher, my only black teacher this quarter. And I told her I was doubting myself, and she told me, do not, there's not enough of you in here. And you are incredibly talented and all this stuff. And I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like in a sense, like I had to run to my teacher, and like a parent, in the sense of like, I need help, because it's like, I just feel like, am I not good enough? But it's like my section alone, we have mostly white people. I think we only have 4 people of color in my section, if I'm counting correctly.
Yeah.
And everybody else is either a white male.
Black women, specifically.
3 black women, and including me.
Yeah.
So, and it's like I was going to somebody who I considered a friend, which I would be honest, it hurt me, but it's like, how do I bring that up to them? You know, it's like, well, you know, you told me to just keep persevering, and they would be like, okay, what did you want me to say? You know, I feel like that's what I'm going to get back, which I don't know, but they're not the only person I heard that from. And I went to my teacher, and I told her, like, you know, like, I just feel like discouraged and like low because and it's like, she's the one who told me, she's like, you, not that the school can't afford, it's just that you shouldn't doubt yourself. People are trying to make it harder for you. She's like, the people that you would think that wouldn't like try to make they may unwillingly do it, but they still find ways to say things that are harmful or things that you're gonna internalize. And she's like, she told me like basically not to. And it was just, I think that was something that like I would say moving forward, talk to my black friends, you know, about something like that. I didn't. I just kind of kept it to myself because I was like, maybe everybody feels this way about me. It's like, just keep persevering, girl. You got this. And it's like, I don't think that's the truth. So moving forward, not putting myself in a box. And all I can say, I hope TTS can get better, you know, as time goes on. And yeah, my part. Yes.
I can say, in terms of the future, I may be psychic in some aspects, but I'm not a fortune teller, not a future predictor. But I think in terms of my own future, I get kind of a lot of head turns when I say stuff like this, but I think that I'm no longer going to allow people to make me feel bad for knowing what I want. I feel like I'm going to be the type of artist who's going to be in the public eye. I've always had a lot of, and I hate to use the word famous because I feel like it's been so misconstrued in our media, but like in the aspect of what fame means, I feel like it means simply being put in the public eye. And I've always been in some form of the public eye, even just through family, friends. Like my dad just knows a lot of I've always been around that kind of energy, and I've never shied away from it. And I feel like the reason I am going to be is because I have so much to say, but also because there's no one right now who looks like me. But there are people out there who look just like me, who want to do things that I want to do. And I feel like, if not now, then when? Someone's got to be out there to show that it's possible, you know? And not even like I want to be this voice, because Billy Porter already, fumbled the bag. If I put it lightly, fumbled the bag. But in that aspect, I just feel like for my future, I see myself leaving DePaul after I graduate or not. I see them marketing off the fact that they had another black student, or another student who was probably successful in their journey, whatever my journey looks like. I could not tell you. I just know where I want to be. And because they already did it with my high school, even just with getting into DePaul, it was all of a sudden, oh, this and that, because none of my white peers got in. I was the only one who got into the theater school. And all of a sudden, a lot of voices switched, and it was, oh, now it's, yeah, we always knew. Did you? Because where was this support for me when I was auditioning for colleges?
Exactly.
Where was the text telling me good luck for my auditions?
Break a leg.
Break a leg.
I didn't get a single
nothing, not even a thumbs up.
I was sending you good vibes.
Right,
really?
but now that I got in, we always knew. Exactly. And just for the future of TTS, I just hope and pray that they hire more teachers who are very similar to the student body, but change the student body as well.
Yes.
I accept more diversity into the program, because that's the only way to learn. Like, I'm sorry, but you cannot learn from consistency. And I feel like having one black teacher and all other white teachers from my entire section, for the most part, like my entire learning has just been weird. And I'm lucky I get to work with Sean Paris next quarter. Very excited.
Yeah,
Very
I'm excited.
excited. But you know how our peers can be with, Phyllis is so hard on us and yada 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 bop 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 bop. I'm like, yeah, because y'all don't try. Y'all don't try. And it's just, I hope for the future of TTS that we can see a big shift in the way we and they, because I'm going to say them, but also us as well, individuals, the way we navigate spaces with each other. I don't want no more passive aggressiveness in the hallways.
Exactly.
If you got something to say, girl, say it to me.
With your chest.
With your chest. With your whole chest. No more microaggressive comments, because that has got to stop. Because they always know.
constant.
They always know that they're in the wrong for it, because immediately you get that look of, what? If you knew it, you shouldn't have said it. You shouldn't have said it. And just more accountability. I need more accountability on all parts. I just think that there's a lot of hypocrisy, and it's okay. We all mess up. Like, we all are capable of being hypocrites and doing things we weren't supposed to do. But holding each other accountable in the moment and giving that space to not cancel someone, but give them the space to talk and stop fearing confrontation when it's important to have. I think is like the things that I see hopefully for the future. But it's an ongoing struggle, so who knows? It's anyone's game at this point. But I just might have to tap out. So you might see me somewhere else. That's what I can say.
I think, I don't know, sometimes it's difficult for me to think about the future, because I'm like, I'm here now. I'm not in the future. So what can I do now? But I was listening to like a podcast recently, and it's interesting because it was talking about the idea of like excellence and how we need to release the idea of excellence with an outcome and just be excellent because we can be and we're here to be. So I think I've been thinking a lot about that, like in terms of the future. I can't, I'm not a psychic, unfortunately. I wish I was. But if like I feel like the future's okay. I'm gonna let it be what it's gonna be. But right now, I think I'm gonna release outcome. I'm just going to do things to the best of my ability, and I think that will bring to me where I need to be when I need to be there.
Yes.
I have so many things that I love to do. I don't know, sometimes I'm just like, maybe I just need to be an energy in the space for someone. Maybe like my purpose is to just like help someone else do something great and I'm there, you know? I don't know. So there's a lot of things that I'm figuring out. But I don't feel like I need to have all the answers now. And I think that if we're all able to be excellent and we're all able to release outcome, we can just be joyful. And I feel like that's the most exciting future, is a joyful one.
For myself, what I see in the future, I see a lot of growth. A lot of growth. I keep reminding myself that I am enough, and I am on the right path. So stick with it and keep going and keep going and keep going. So with that being said, my future looks bright. It does look bright. I'm gonna manifest that.
Yes. I'm manifesting it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Manifestation.
Thank you. So yeah, that's the future for me. With TTS, what does the future look like? For TTS, I'm just keep saying it, more black people. I know I said that before,
More black
but
people, yeah.
it just feels, you know, all right, as far as like within my class, and then when I meet other black students, it's like, you know, like a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Like, and we all need that, like, cause, you know, class is already tough as it is, but just having more and more of that black love, you know, this in general, is just very energizing, very inspiring, and it just keeps you alive and makes you want to work 10 times as hard as well, because we all here for a reason. And for the world, I have no idea. I have no idea about this world, because this world, man, this world, the future, shit, for this world. I have no idea. Yeah, no words for the world, because, hold on, what did, I said that one album, I said, fuck the world, something like that. That's a Brent Fires. Man, yeah, I have no words for this world, to be honest with you. Yeah.
That's very telling of where we're at. I want to thank you all for doing this. I want to thank our sound designer.
Yes, thank you.
I want to thank our lighting designer who had to
Yes.
leave early.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Such a
Thank you all.
pleasure.
This is going to continue to happen because it doesn't need to stop. And if anything, I think that this talk proves something that my African dance teacher used to always tell us after every class. Never underestimate the power of your presence, because your presence is a present. I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for watching, and I bid you adieu.